Hello everyone. I just wanted to share this quick video with you to review the final project. In Module 3 is when we began our work on the final project for the course. So outside of what you already read in your rubric and the course objective, I just wanted to share this video with you to go into a little bit more detail on the final project as a whole, and then the way that we'll break the final project down this term into two milestones, and then in week 7 you are going to submit the final piece. If you have any questions as you are working, feel free to share those questions in the general discussion board, or just email me directly if you're working, as you are working, if you have any questions, and I will be happy to help you. So as we get started, this term, your final project will consist of a social media consultation document. So what that is, it's more of an informational piece and not like a specific social media strategy. And I say that because a lot of people think that it'll be the company that you selected that you may create a Facebook or Twitter page for them, and then you're going to specifically go on there and kind of show what you would do on social media. And it's not that. It's more of an informational piece. Because throughout the course, everything that we work on each module, each week, will cover lessons that will, help you get a better understanding of social media and using it as a communication tool. So we're going to learn the history of social media, best practices, strategy, crisis management, and we're going to put all that together. And then you'll be able to, I tell students to think of it as you'll be able to go to the owner of the company, the owner, the board, or executives, and suggest ways to, one, improve what they may be already doing on social media, or if they are not on social media, to explain to them why and ways that they can use social media inside of their marketing strategy to communicate with customers, followers, or potential customers. So it's more informational than strategic, the project is. So as we began, in week 1, you were to select a organization, a final project organization, and this was a company with little to no social media presence, one that you feel could use some social media love, somebody or a company that may have a Facebook page or a Twitter account that have only posted once or twice, or the posts are just sporadic, or they're not really reaching their target audience. So they may already have a social media page and you feel like they can do better with what they're doing already. Or it may be a company that does not have a Facebook, does not have Twitter, does not have Instagram, and you see that if they incorporate social media, that will help market and bring communication with customers to them. It may better what they're doing. So that's kind of in a gist why in the beginning you were instructed to select a company that could benefit. Because if we know if a company has 5 or 6 social media accounts that they're using already, that they kind of understand what social media can do, and it's really nothing to suggest for them to improve on if they're already active on social media. So everyone to this point should have selected a final project. If you have not already done so, this was the guide to choosing your organization. Again, everything that I just kind of went over, the do's and don'ts of the company. Again, we don't want a company that has a presence on social media because we're making suggestions. So if it's nothing to suggest, the work is already done for you. So again, that was one of the requirements. And again, a lot of you have come to me and asked about using a family business, your own business, someone you know, a local business, and I definitely encourage that. That's great. That's awesome, because outside of it just being a project for this course this term. I hope that when you are done with the final project, the consultation document, that if it's for your business or a family member or someone you're close to, you can actually use and benefit from what we've put together to help you to use social media sites for your company to help someone improve. So absolutely, that is a great company or person that you could use in interest. A company that's of interest to you is great because again it's beneficial both ways, and it's going to help the project to run smoothly. It won't seem like a chore to you. It's going to seem like twofold. You're doing it for the course, but you're also helping yourself or someone you're close to in a long run. So these were the kind of do's and don'ts to selecting your organization. And again, this is just to review, because if you have a company that's on social media and they have, I always like to use the cutoff of 2 social media. If they have more than 2 social media sites that they're on already, it's probably not a good company to use. And again, because you want to be able to make suggestions. And if the work is already done for you and they're already using it and they're consistently on social media, then what can we suggest? So that's why I just want you to make sure that you have followed these guidelines and your company will fall under kind of the more of the do's than the don'ts. So again, be sure, I always say this over and over again, to review those guidelines and rubrics that you've been given for all your assignments, especially for the final project, for all your assignments throughout the course, because I tell students every term, that's a blueprint. Like everything that we do, everything that's required, everything while I'm grading your papers that I'm looking for is going to be outlined in the guidelines and rubrics. So if you follow your guidelines and rubrics as you are working and compiling your final project, all your assignments, then you know that you won't leave anything out. It's your blueprint, because everything that I'm looking for as I'm grading assignments are going to be found in those guidelines and rubrics. So I said it's very important just to kind of go through when you look at it. As you sit down to work, just look at it again, maybe step away from it, come back to it, and then once you've done the assignment and you completed it, before you turn it in, just go through and check off each of those boxes that you see in the guidelines and see the critical elements. Have I included those critical elements? And trust me, that will definitely save you the stress, save you the questions, because that's what I'm looking for as I grade your papers and all your assignments and your final project. Again, the final project is broken down into 2 milestones, and your first milestone being due in module 3, the second one in module 5, and the final project will be submitted in module 7. So by breaking it down into those two sections in those milestones, it allows you to build and compile your paper throughout the term. Again, everything that we do is constructed off of the last thing that you do. So just keep that in mind, that as you work on one section and you turn that in, the next thing you do is is a continuation from what you've already did and what you've already turned in. Okay, so milestone 1 is what you're going to be working on this week. And in this milestone, you are going to provide your social media overview and the business goals. This is section 1 and 2 of your paper. So the social media overview is going to take a look at the history of social media, pretty much how social media has been used by businesses over the past decade. So we're creating a foundation. Again, think of it as if you're explaining to someone in business who's not that familiar with social media. You're going to have to give them examples of what works, why it works, how has it been working. So again, you're just setting the foundation as to why incorporate social media and why we are using social media, where social media has come from and where it is now. So you're just kind of setting the scene for the business owner. So you want to review how it's been used over the past decade. We're going to take a look at best practices. This week, I'm going to post several announcements that's outside of what you read in your textbooks about best practices. And we know just this week, there's good, there's bad, and there's the ugly to social media. So we want to address that, you know, when you're posting or whatever you put on social media, there's a correct way to do that if you're using social media for business outside of just, you know, personal. You want to make sure that if you have a negative comment from a customer, that you're not ignoring it, you're addressing it. Because that one person who posts a negative comment, you have thousands of followers looking to see your response to that negative comment. Ignoring it is not going to make it go away, but the way that you respond is definitely going to say a lot about you and your customers and your customer service. So there is best practices to using social media for business. And then in this section, we're going to go over the opportunities and limits of social media. And that's pretty much the do's and don'ts of using social media, the pros and cons of using social media. So we're going to address that in this first section of your final project. Then section 2 of milestone 1 that you're going to work on this week will be the business goals. Now, what are the goals for the organization you selected? We're going to help them uncover what specific goals do they have when using social media. Do they want to drive traffic to their websites? Do they want to increase brand awareness? Are they looking to connect more with customers and clients? That engagement that we see those social organizations that you're following do. Are they looking to build that up? Are they looking to improve there or demonstrate their expertise? I know some of you are following photography companies, athletic companies. That's their expertise, and they show that, and I'm sure they display that in their social media pages. So again, we're going to address those business goals in this section of your paper. So what's the current state? Like, what are they doing wrong? And then using social media, how is using social media going to help address and correct the wrongs that you see them doing? So that's kind of milestone 1 of your final project that you work on this week. So if you have any questions outside of what I've posted here in the video, outside of what you read in your rubric and guidelines, reach out to me, post a question, and I'll gladly answer and clarify anything for you for milestone 1. Outside of the sections 1 and 2, please, I tell students this all the time, be mindful of the formatting guidelines. That's included in your rubric, but I've posted them here for you as well. This first milestone should be at least 3 to 4 pages. Again, be mindful of the formatting. But one of the things that, of course, I know outside of my course, I'm sure that you've approached in every course here at SNHU, would be the APA formatted citations. You do have to include at least 3 references and citations to support your work. And again, I'll post more about that in the announcements. But again, just be mindful of the guidelines, because I don't have, you know, mark down what you don't have if you already include it. So again, that is something in the rubric that I will be grading for with every milestone and every assignment that you turn in. So I just like to point attention to that, because I know sometimes as you're working on your paper, you know, you probably take an interest or focus more on the content of your paper, and sometimes we lack on the formatting. But again, I just want to make sure you include that, because I don't want to take any points away if I do not have to. So again, thank you all for watching the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to your submissions. I'm sure they are all going to be great. Thank you.